Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Koala and I am a shamanic practitioner mainly within the Nordic tradition, but I'm also initiated into Nustakarpa and the Munaki rites. But in this video we are talking Nordic shamanism because we are going through the 9 worlds, the 9 realms of the non-ordinary reality that we dive into when we do Seder and when we do magic and when we do shamanic journeying within the Nordic tradition. So we have come to the 4th video. The first one was an introduction, and then we have gone through 2 of the upper worlds so far, and we have now reached the 3rd upper world, which is this one, and it's called Muspelheim. And I actually thought of this the last time I made a video about this in this series, that the names of these realms are they end with heim or gård, and heim is home. So I thought I would explain that. Heim means home, so it's the home of, literally. So Vana heim, the home of the Vanir. Asgård. Gård is like a farm or a homestead. So it's also the home of the Asir. So Asgård, home of the Asir. So Muspelheim is home of the fire giant. And it's the home of the fire as an entity, but also fire as an energy, and everything that is contained within that. So we're gonna go through that a little bit today because we are gonna talk a little bit about Muspelheim. So who lives in this realm? It's the fire giants, as I said. So the fire giants there are several giants in the 9 spheres or realms of this map of the world, and giants overall live in the underworld in Jotunheim, and then we have ice giants in Niflheim, and then we have the fire giants in Muspelheim, that is an upper world. So also on this map you can see that we have, so all of the worlds are connected to each other. So we have Muspelheim over here, and going this way we have Niflheim down here. So the fire giants and the ice giants are pretty close actually, because it's not flat. The worlds aren't flat. The realms aren't flat. They are connected in so many different ways, and there are, you can say, shortcuts between the worlds that are like diagonally positioned against each other on the map. So we have Muspelheim up here, and then we have Niflheim down here, and those energies are opposite and also compatible. So the fire in Muspelheim is the fire that is it's warming, it's the fire of life, it's the fire of it's the fire that's necessary to melt ice so that we can have water that is life-giving. So without fire, we can't melt the ice, and we can't have water that is a basis for life. So the fire is really, really important. And what we have up here is, so the fire giants, we can work with the fire giants as beings that can help us melt the ice, that can help warm us from the inside out, that can help clear our energy bodies and the spaces from anything negative. We can burn negative energy in the fire. So everything that you can use the fire for outside of yourself, you can use it inside of yourself. And everything you can use it for on the inside, you can use it for on the outside. But remember, we always have to remember that fire is hazardous, and it's all consuming, and it takes time And even with time and effort and knowledge, it's not always that we can tame the fire, especially not outside of ourselves, because we have flammable objects. So what we do when we work with fire and Muspelheim is that we set in very clear intentions for what we want to use the fire for, and what aspect of the fire that we want to utilize at that specific time. So fire is also symbolic of creativity and passion and sexual energy. So these are things that we can work with in this realm. So the energy of this realm and the possibilities of this realm, including the Kundalini, but we don't really have that concept in the Nordic, but it's the same idea. Everything it has to do with fire and and whatever the fire can do and what it symbolizes are part of Muspelheim. So we can use that knowledge to connect Muspelheim and the medicine of this realm to other things in other traditions and other cultures as well, because they go hand in hand and they are connected. Everything is connected. So Muspelheim is the Nordic home or realm of everything that is connected to fire and how we use fire. So when I journey, what is my next point on my agenda? So I don't have to go ahead of myself. So when we journey to Muspelheim, we have to remember it's an upper world. So it's, even though the fire is all consuming and it's hard to tame and to control, it's a part of the upper world and a part of a positive force. Not that there are any negative forces in any of these worlds. That's not even how the lower world or underworld works. But with the upper worlds, we have to understand that it's very high vibrations and it's very high. We have guides there that can help us. So if we remember when we talked about Vanaheim and the home of Vanir, that is the home of emotions and intuition, and we can work on those and heal our emotions within that world. In this world of Muspelheim, we can journey there to bring forth the fire of conception, the fire of ignition, the fire of new opportunities, the fire in our belly when we need to have something done. All the positive forces of fire we can gather when we travel to this realm and bring it to our realm and to ourselves and to people. So a part of shamanic healing, Nordic shamanic healing, is to journey to this realm within a person. Like, it's a map of the map of the world, or it's a map of our outer and our inner cosmos. And if I want to help someone, I need the permission to enter their energy field. So within their energy field, I can go into their microcosmos and their Muspelheim and bring back their fire to life, so that they can then nourish that in a good way. But also remember that it is consuming, and that fire needs oxygen and it needs wood or whatever to burn. So it's not an easy task to make, but we can work with that and help bring forth the person's passion and energy and creativity, and even ignite their libido if that is what they want. So we never ever go into shamanic healing, Nordic shamanic healing, doing anything that the client doesn't want. That's like rule number 1. We don't do anything that's not wanted without consent. So it's very important to, like, that's the first rule, to have consent with everything you do. And the second rule is to have a clear intention with everything, so that you are actually working on accomplishing what you want to accomplish. So this work is a bit easier in the upper worlds because the fire is also cleansing. Okay, so the fire is I mainly use the fire as a cleansing tool within my shamanic healing, especially with new clients and with myself on a regular basis. I have shared one of those meditation with this kind of cleansing on my Instagram, Shaman Koala. So that's I would say that's the foremost way of using the energy of Muspelheim in my healing practice. But I also have in each and every of the 9 worlds we have guides and we have elemental spirits. So this is so Muspelheim is the home of the element of fire, right? So within that realm we then have guides and entities or whatever that we can work together with that will aid us in our work with fire. I have one wonderful guide from this realm that I work with, not as much now as I did in the beginning of my journey with these 9 worlds and with my shamanic healing, because he's a teacher. So he taught me how to use the fire in different ways, and he was there to guide me through my first sessions and my first ceremonies when I really wanted to go to Muspelheim and use the fire from Muspelheim to do so. Whatever intention I wanted to fulfill. So nowadays he's more of a bystander, and he's standing I feel his presence when I'm working with fire outside of myself or within myself, or when I journey intentionally to Muspelheim, or anytime I work with fire I can feel the presence of this guide because I'm working with his element. And also the element itself, fire itself, has a spirit that we can work with. One of my favorite memories of working with the elemental spirit of fire is actually 2. One a bit minor and one a bit bigger, or however you want to view it. So one of them was I held a meditation evening, like an evening of meditation with I don't remember in what purpose, but before people arrived, this was a real life event. So before people arrived, I went around the room and lit the fire, and like in these little cups, so for ambiance and for the work we were gonna do that evening. And I lit them maybe 3 in the afternoon, and I left there I think I lit them even earlier, like 1 in the afternoon, and people was gonna arrive at 2, and I needed some time to prepare myself. So I lit them at 1 in the afternoon, and then I didn't leave the space until 9 in the evening, and they had barely been touched. Like these small little tea light candles had barely had any wax or whatever it was that was in the candles. It had barely been touched, but the fire had been flaming all night, all afternoon and evening. And then I gifted those to the person that had this space, because I was just a visitor, a guest. And the person then I said, you can light these candles whenever you want to. And the thing is, when I went around to light them, I welcomed fire. I sounded the rune of fire, Ken or Kenas. And I welcomed the spirit of the fire, the elemental spirit of the fire. And these candles actually lasted for an entire week. So the person that I gifted them to continued to light these candles every day for a whole week before they were gone. And they asked me, where did you buy these? And I said, it doesn't matter, because you won't get the same effect from new candles. So you can call on fire to assist you when you need the fire, if you know how to, and if you have a bond with the fire as an elemental spirit. And another time that this was very eminent as well was when I held a rune course a few years back, and it was pouring rain down. So it wasn't pouring when we started the fire. I think it maybe just like drizzled or something, and we had our drums with us, and we were gonna have a ceremony in honor of fire and the rune of fire, more specifically. So we lit this fire, and it burned through the entire night, and it was in this like iron basket kind of thing. They look really, it can't be filled with water because it's holes all around it, but it was pouring down, and it was so amazing to see how the fire just kept burning its brightest, and we just had to keep feeding it with dry wood and it was going all night. We were so certain that it was gonna go out before, but it didn't go out until we closed the circle and thanked fire, and then all of a sudden it just started to, go from this to this, and then eventually it stopped, and it was out, and we all took a piece of coal from that fire with us to both remember the ceremony and how magnificent it was, but also I held on to that little piece of coal for years, and I had it in like a small pouch. Like, this is my rune bag, right? And I had a smaller leather pouch. It looked kind of like this, but it was smaller, where I had some amulets or whatever, and I had that piece of coal in there for the longest time, and I could feel the energy of that fire, and I could feel the spirit of that fire walking together with me, and I took it out whenever I wanted to, and I'd never used it, but I had it on, on an altar or with me when I had other ceremonies with fire, and I really could feel that bond. So it took I think it took a long time before I had to get rid of that, and I didn't even get rid of it. It just eventually there was just dust left in my little pouch. So it's wonderful to work with fire, and in the Nordic tradition, the best way to bond with fire as an energy and an elemental spirit, and the guides that can help you tame the fire and even feed the fire. The best way is to travel or journey to Muspelheim, and also to work with the Muspelheim within you, everything that fire is within you, and what it stands for and symbolizes and represents, which is creativity and passion. So that if you feed your passions, if you feed your creativity, if you listen to yourself, if you let yourself express all of those things, then you bond with you work with Muspelheim within you, even though you are not traveling there. But it's important to know that you don't have to be able to close your eyes and journey and see everything clearly or hear everything clearly to work with another realm, and what it stands for, and the energies that are there, because you have everything inside of you, and fire from Muspelheim is no exception. So this video went a bit longer than the other ones, but the fire and Muspelheim is such a dear topic to me, and I really enjoy working with the fire giant as well. The fire giants are, I would say they're one face of the elemental spirits that we can work with when it comes to fire, and they stand for like the more destructive and all-consuming part of fire, but they can also be there to warm you and hold your hand through dark and cold times. And it's wonderful to work with this realm, and one of my favorite things to do, I rarely do it intentionally actually, is when I have an intention and a journey to the underworlds in a specific purpose. When we go up again, we always journey through one of the upper worlds to cleanse ourselves before we come down to the middle world and back to ourselves and the earth within us and our physical bodies, and to be guided then by my what's the word, pathfinder maybe, to be guided through that specific upper world is so wonderful to me, to be consumed by the fire in a cleansing way, and then feel the weight, how the weight has lifted from that, from yourself. When you land in your body, you can feel you can feel that the fire has really cleansed and burned away everything that you don't need to bring with you from the upper world, so from the lower world. So that's kind of the point of coming back through one of the upper worlds. So the world, the home of Vani, the home of Asir, the home of the fire giants, and that is to be cleansed by their element, so water, air, or fire. And depending on what we have been doing in the lower worlds, the cleansing process will look different. So depending on where we've been and so forth. So if we have been to Niflheim, for instance, we might be cleansed in Muspelheim with the fire, because we have come from the world of ice up to the world of fire and then back into our bodies. So and we can of course journey with the specific intention to be cleansed. And this is something I work with quite often, and sometimes I hope to be able to share this with you on my Patreon in a not so distant future. I'm working on that right now. I have a lot of other things going on right now, but it's definitely a more short time goal to be able to do that. So thank you for listening. Thank you for learning and letting me teach you a little bit about Muspelheim and the world of fire, the realm of fire, and the fire giants. So walk in beauty and walk with fire and bond with fire, but don't let yourself get burned. Alright, I will see you next time. Xingling.